So I'm going to start today with a question. Do you ever wonder if you have any control over your future? I used to think about that quite a bit because things would happen and they would be unanticipated. I wouldn't know exactly why this was going on. But then I realized that as Christians, we actually do have control over our futures. So let me explain that before you start thinking, oh, she's kind of weird today. No, let's look at John 10:10. In that verse, it says that the thief, that would be the devil, came to kill, steal, and destroy, but that Jesus came to give us life and life more abundantly. So you'll notice the differences between those two things, right? I mean, the devil comes to do bad things. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And you can trace things that happen in your life that are bad to him. Excuse me. But Jesus, however, came to bring us life and life more abundantly. So Jesus has defeated the devil. We know that, right? So things like shortage and lack and delay, those are all part of the curse, and Jesus has already taken care of the curse. So we are not actually subject to those things anymore. However, we do see this happens to Christians quite often. And so why is that? And that was another thing that used to bug me. It was like, well, I don't understand. If people are saved, then why are these things happening to them? And so I've come to realize that our futures and what happens to us in the future, we actually have a large role in that because of what we say and what we sow. And let me explain that. It is amazing the amount of power that our words have. I really did not know that for many years, but what we say is incredibly important because if we sit around and say, oh, this is going to happen to me, this is going to happen to me, this is going to happen to me, guess what? You're like this magnet that's drawing that to happen to you. Even in our family, there have been people who said, well, I won't live beyond 40 because my daddy didn't live to 40. And guess what? He didn't live beyond 40 because he said that his entire life. And so it was going to happen. So the things that we say are super important. Instead of focusing on negative things, we need to focus on positive things. So maybe your bank account doesn't have quite what you need in it, but you know what? If you're saved, in the Word it says, God says that He would supply all of our need according to His riches and glory by Christ Jesus. I have what I need. It might not necessarily be there on the timetable that I'm thinking it should, which probably depends on me too. But what I say is super important. Don't say negative things. Just don't do that because if you do, then it's like, as said earlier, you're a magnet kind of attracting those negative things. And so also thinking about what you sow, how we treat others, right? Treat others the way you want them to treat you. Those things that you sow, if you're sowing negative things, if you're sowing, actions that you've taken against other people, well, those are going to come back on you. And also, it's, what you sow from a financial standpoint determines what you're going to have. You cannot outgive God. You cannot outgive God. So give and tithe and say good things. And you know what? That will have a great influence on what happens to you in the future. And so you're saying, well, this just sounds like some sort of positive, weird guru stuff. No, 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 no. That is a ripoff of the Bible, to be honest. Because read the New Testament. Read what Jesus said. He said that He was the light and He was the way. He is. And so if you read in the Gospels where Paul is writing to people who are new Christians, think about what he's telling them. He's basically saying, you're free. Jesus has given us an amazing amount of freedom, but we have to use it wisely. So think about that. I mean, think about the words that you're saying. Can you see in your own life how that's attracted bad things into your life? Well, then don't do it anymore. And think about sowing. Think about what happens when we give of ourselves. It's amazing the differences that it can cause in our lives. So that's today's thought, is that we actually do have some control over our futures, and that if we say the right things and we sow good things, then we're attracting those into our lives and it will make our futures different. So, you guys have a great week and be blessed.